Hey friends, and welcome back to another Majora's Mask project making video. To begin, I do want to say a little bit of an apology, a little bit of a sorry. I delayed the process of making this mask by a few days because I was busy working on another cosplay. If anyone's curious, the cosplay that I was working on was Porygon for a 151 original Pokemon cosplay photo shoot hosted by the wonderful Jessica Luna Cosplay for Kanto Down Under in Sydney. I was invited last minute to participate as Porygon because there were a couple of people that pulled out, so I wanted to prioritize that, and in doing that it meant that this mask, the 25th mask of our series, got pushed back a little bit later, so I am sorry for that. We're up to the 25th mask of the series, so that is super exciting. Thank you all so much for coming along with me on this journey. I know I say it every single video, but it means a lot that you guys show up time and time again and are so interested in the way that I make these masks. I'm excited that we're up to the 25th mask. We're only 6 away from finishing the project, so that is massive. And I am happy to announce that because of a few of your comments online, especially one person in particular, the 25th mask will be the moon mask, and this is also going off the fact that we did the sun mask last week as well. For anyone that didn't know, the moon mask is a pair with the sun mask because it is the mask that Andrew creates for the wedding ceremony for her and Kafai during that side quest in Majora's Mask. Kafai makes the sun mask, Andrew makes the moon mask, and they come together and make the couple's mask once they have been joined in union. You know what I mean. How am I gonna make the moon mask? It's going to be basically similar, and you might have guessed, but I am recording this and the moon mask has already been made because I did not record this introduction beforehand, so this is Ellie from the future. How I made the mask was using a cardboard base, foam clay, aluminium foil, masking tape, and some 5mm foam for the outside bits. Now, because I'm filming this later, I can tell you that this didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it. Something went wrong with the foam clay, so it didn't dry as smoothly as I would have liked, but I am happy with the overall progress, especially because I was making my Porygon armor at the same time as this mask. So it was a very rushed job, and for me to actually have anything done, I think I did well anyway. I've yapped, definitely, for far too long for this intro. So without further ado, I will let you guys get to the mask making.
Like every other video, I grabbed my mask base, but I had already cut the nose off previous to taking the video. And then I grabbed a red pen and I started to mark around the eyes where I wanted to cut to make it a lot more circular and a lot more wider. Then when I was happy with the shape, I grabbed some masking tape and I covered the nose hole as well as around the eyes, just getting rid of the corners around the eyes. It already looked kind of terrifying at this point. Once I was happy with that, I grabbed my aluminium foil and I started to sculpt the eyebrow. Both the sun and the moon masks have a very prominent brow that are sort of shaped around the eyes. So I grabbed some foil to do that and I used masking tape to hold it in place. The next thing that I did was use more foil to shape the nose. The difference between the sun mask and the moon mask for the nose is the moon mask's one is a lot more pointy while the sun mask is flat. Once the nose had been attached, the next thing that I wanted to do was grab more foil and mold the shape of the mouth. I usually roll up 2 flat long pieces and then just kind of put it to the shape of the creepy smile. I could have used hot glue here, but I had masking tape readily available, so I just used that to stick it all in place. I also find that masking tape strengthens the foil when it's stuck down, so when I add the foam clay later, the foil doesn't get as squashed. The next thing that I did was shape the bump on the head. It is pentagonal with 5 sides, like the sun masks was. However, it was a lot closer to the brow bone, so I made sure to stick that down with masking tape and make it as smooth as possible. The next thing that I did was grab my 5mm foam, use the mask base as a reference, and then cut out the crescent moon shape and the little pointed side. I then hot glued that to the mask base. The next thing that I wanted to do, of course, was cover the whole thing in foam clay. As I said in the previous video, this is a little bit hard because there are so many features that I just have to go around with the foam clay. I want them to look prominent, but also be smoothed out. Also on the little corner piece, on the side of the mask, it does have a bit of a pyramid type shape, so I just made that with the foam clay rather than shaping with masking tape or foil or anything. I then completely doused that with water and then used some PVA mixed with water to coat and seal the foam on the outside. The next day, when everything was completely dry, I took it outside to my outside table and I completely spray painted it silver. I did about 2 coats just to make sure it was completely covered, but you can kind of see at this point that the foam clay was just not smooth. I didn't want to let you guys down though, so I just kept painting and hoped that it would come out better later. The next day, the silver paint was completely dry, so I just grabbed my acrylic paints and I started to paint on the details. The main base details that I wanted to cover was the gold on the crescent-shaped moon around the sides, add some gold in the smile, and on the bump on the head. I actually did about 4 coats of that acrylic paint, but I didn't record those processes. You can see in this clip though that the gold is a lot more brighter and a lot more evenly spread. Once the gold was dry though, I then mixed up a couple more shades to add some details to the mask. I made a lighter, more yellow gold to add the markings on the bump and around the head, and then I made a darker grey silver kind of colour to add some shading under the eyebrows and around the nose to make it look more pointed. I did about 3 coats of paint for these details, just trying to make sure they were as even as possible and also as symmetrical as possible because the designs were the same on both sides of the mask. Once I was kind of happy with the paint coverage, I also wanted to grab my eyeshadow palettes and just add a little bit more detail and a little bit more shading to the masks. I used a dark grey sparkly kind of eyeshadow to go over the darker grey paint around the nose and under the eyebrows. I then used a very light gold and a white shiny eyeshadow to add some highlights to the tips of the mask. And then I used a sparkly orange to kind of put around the gold parts, like I did with the sun mask, to make it look a little bit more aged. The last few things that I wanted to do now that the moon mask was completely painted and detailed was add black mesh behind the eyes so I can wear it and still see through it, but you can't see my eyes. So I cut out the 2 rectangles and used hot glue to glue it down, cutting off the excess when I was done, like I have with all the other masks. I then grabbed my pliers and I started to feed through the elastic to make it wearable. And lastly, I grabbed some black paint to paint around the eyes and hide any excess hot glue that may have been peeking through. This is me now trying on the moon mask, making sure that it is wearable and that it actually looks okay. It is very bumpy and I hate that, but I can't be too mad because I actually got it done and it does resemble the sun mask, which is what I was hoping. Please let me know if you like how this mask turned out. Feel free to subscribe if you want to follow along with the project. And let me know in the comments which mask you'll want to see next. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.